I really think that the role ICT has to play, that's information and communications technology, is a lot larger than is currently the case. For example, if we take a look at the recent disaster in the Philippines, Haiyan, it's clear that ICT and technology could have played a role in collaborating global efforts to get disaster relief to situations like a typhoon. That's one area. Another area I think that is really important is information. Just here at the conference at COP19 in the last few days, I've heard people from the IPCC say a number of times that they don't quite know how to disseminate all of the information that they've gathered or that they know of. And I do think that's a really natural role that ICT can play. In fact, at the moment, I'd say that climate information is like a library without a catalogue. So providing sensible and useful search of climate information is one role that I think could be expanded.
Where could this technology be applied? What are the particular areas in the whole climate change process which need to be looked at?
Well, given that the emphasis from now till 2015 in Paris is on mobilising climate finance, I would like to see a bigger role played by technology in the process of allowing small projects all around the world to apply directly for climate finance using the internet and workflows and online application processes. It would be very easy to hook up at the back end with climate expertise from all of the organisations around the world that hold so much knowledge already to provide things like estimations of greenhouse gas emissions from the project, or how effective a project can be for the money that is being spent. So all of those factors that go to making a decision about whether finance is approved or not, they're obvious candidates for automation. So that's one particular area. The other thing I think is there's a really strong role to play for public information dissemination. The public aren't particularly well informed about climate change, and when they are informed, they're either half informed or not particularly well informed. And the public is very internet savvy, and I do think we could use internet technology a lot better to get relevant information to people. And I think people deserve to know. It's no good hiding the fact from the general population that there is an urgency to addressing climate change.
Give us a sense about how accurate you feel that emissions quantification and analysis is at the moment, because that, I guess, is what all of these projections in terms of the IPCC and also what countries submit in terms of pledges is based on. So how do you see the accuracy at the moment?
Yes, I think it's problematic. I think people have known for years that one of the reasons that the carbon market is in not as healthy a state as it could be is lack of accuracy. Markets don't like uncertainty. And if you think about the process whereby we're collecting emissions at the moment, the IPCC has developed some extremely accurate metrics, and they're being administered by the countries. And with the best will in the world, when you've got an automated, a non-automated data gathering process, error creeps in. People make mistakes. So we've got people filling in information that we know has a certain level of error. That level of error has been estimated, and I believe it's been found too high to deliver the kind of certainty that a carbon market would require. And that's one of the reasons why the investment in sustainable technology has been slow on the uptake, and that's simply because we can't really get reliable mechanisms to offset the carbon emissions when we're not sure what those estimates actually mean in market terms. So yes, I think there's improvements that can be made, and they can be made quite simply, given that in the Western world most of the emissions come from electricity, transport and agriculture use. And we know quite well that if we had an accurate measure using simple things like meters on electricity transmission or meters on fuel pumps, we'd have a much better idea of the level of carbon that's being emitted right now. So greenhouse gas emissions can be measured more accurately.
I mean, this smart meter revolution that seems to be happening in a lot of countries, particularly domestically, where you can have a little screen that tells you exactly how much individual light bulbs use, seems to. I think the evidence is that it makes a difference in terms of people's consumption. So, do you think that can be sort of scaled up?
You've got it. You put your finger on it, Ed. Indeed, in fact, it's been demonstrated a number of times that energy efficiency comes from showing people exactly what they're using in terms of local behaviours and patterns. So in the workplace, corporations and people are no different actually. There is probably, I think the CSIRO in Australia estimated around 70% of the current energy usage that we do could be improved simply by changing behaviours and fairly simple energy efficiency technology adaptations. So yeah, that I think is the crux of the matter, and it is very important to engage people in energy efficiency so that people actually take responsibility. And of course, as well as people, that's corporations, organisations. It's the obvious place to start.
Okay, and I guess in a final point, what can Trac-Car offer? What can your technology, software offer in terms of this kind of analysis and quantification?
With our technology partners, this is something that ICT does very well right now in the cloud. We could offer near real-time emissions measurement from meters and existing data collections in organisations. Yes, so that's all eminently doable. We've done this in some places. The idea really would be to get it going on a global scale, and for that to happen, we'd need to develop some kind of data standard so that all of the monitoring that is done speaks the same language. One thing we cannot afford now is to have lots of individual efforts of monitoring greenhouse gases that don't talk to each other. So yeah, the technology is capable of doing that in a standard way, and at the moment we're seeking collaboration with other IT companies and standards bodies to try and ensure that we use a standard set of metrics.